2025 is the golden age for blockchain developers. If you want to become a blockchain developer but don't know where to start, this video is just for you. Whether you're a complete newbie to programming or an experienced full-stack developer, today I'm going to answer a few questions for you. Hey, crypto isn't just for programmers. I'm Gida, and on this channel, I'm here to take you from beginner to Web3 Pro. If this sounds like your kind of thing, make sure you subscribe and smash that like button to stay competitive in the Web3 space. Leveling up your skills as a DApp developer is the way to go. Head over to our homepage, and I'll guide you through every step of the journey. First, we need to understand where crypto stands today compared to a few years ago. Things have changed completely, even just a year ago. It's getting more regulated, especially in Europe and the US. We all know that once Bitcoin starts making money, different public chains will start getting the overflow from the big pie. And all sorts of project teams will think about how to create projects that catch this overflow. As a result, the related work will naturally increase, and salaries will also see a rise. So you're asking if there are a lot of opportunities? I don't think it's too bad, but it really depends on where you are. For example, if you're looking for a job in Hong Kong or Singapore, the chances are definitely better, especially if you know some English. You can do interviews online, and there are plenty of opportunities in the U.S. I actually know someone whose English is pretty good and is looking for gigs on LinkedIn while studying abroad. They're bringing some of our community members along too. I put together a crypto outsourcing team to take on projects for foreigners. There are tons of opportunities out there. It's just about whether you're willing to explore them. I'll make another video later to talk specifically about which websites to look for work. If you're interested, don't forget to follow our channel. Some newbies might not really know what decentralized stuff is all about, but there are actually tons of applications. The one that's closest to us is definitely DeFi, especially with apps like Uni leading the way. It makes it super easy for users to exchange crypto right in their own wallets without needing to send it to other platforms. Everything just works seamlessly. Everything is written in smart contracts and stored on the blockchain. Just a side note, theoretically, once your app is launched, it can't be shut down after that second. Just like Tornado, no matter how much the FBI tries to shut it down, you can still use tech tricks to apps functions. And it's not just for exchanges, there are also other things like lending, staking, and derivatives. Infrastructure tools like ENS for domains, IPFS for interstellar storage, chain-link oracles, and cross-chain bridges are essential building blocks for blockchain. There are a ton of games out there, especially the little ones that stick to airplanes or X. And then some friends are using it for trading tools. But I'm not really including those as blockchain applications for now. Plus, there are all sorts of things like DAOs and NFTs. Of course, there's also memes, and everyone is really into those. So I won't go into detail. Blockchain developers actually come in different types. For example, there's the ones who work on decentralized applications. There are companies that make wallets. Then you have those that are building public blockchains. And there are others that offer blockchain services. But those service companies often focus on traditional Web2 stuff, like news media, centralized platforms, and so on. I'll focus on decentralized applications because I'm more familiar with them. There are basically two types, full-stack developers and just chain-end engineers. If we're talking about chain-end engineers, the main thing is to plan the project architecture and then build it with smart contracts. If your boss has a specific request, you might have to imitate some popular projects out there. Even though we know the code for projects on the blockchain is all public. But trust me, understanding a project's code is way harder than just rewriting it yourself. Plus, you can never be 100% sure what the developer's thought process is. Since most of these are DeFi projects and there are so many calculations involved, it often takes us a week or even longer to fully understand all the code of a complex project. The next thing you'll be doing is maintaining old projects, maybe tweaking some parameters or monitoring the data to check if the scripts have hung up. The rest of the time will be spent completing all sorts of weird tasks from the boss. If you search for Solidity on job sites, most of the time, it's this kind of work where the job details are pretty clear, and that includes helping front-end engineers connect with APIs. The front-end engineers you'll be working with might not be very familiar with blockchain, so it's helpful if you understand front-end skills. The boss is happier, but this means you'll turn into a full-stack developer. Anyway, what I just talked about is Solidity, which is for either unrelated chains. But lately Solana has been really popular too. Right now, there aren't many Solana apps, it's mostly just a lot of memes. But that means there's huge potential for growth in the future. The thing is, developing projects on Solana can be pretty tough since you have to know Rust. But we're taking a different approach here. You can actually develop Solana apps using Python. And I think I might be the only one teaching this online. If you're interested, check out our homepage. Personally, I believe the front-end trio is essential. You definitely need to understand HTML, JS, and CSS. Even if you're not doing front-end work, you should at least be able to read it, right? Especially JS. Of course, there's TypeScript now, but the syntax isn't that different. Just think of it as the same thing. So when you come over to Node.js, you'll see that a lot of SDKs or demos for various blockchains are written in Node.js. Even the various trading scripts you want to do, scientific scripts, and all sorts of dependencies can really pile up. If you insist on using Java, it just seems kind of pointless. Of course, I'm not trying to put down any programming language. Also, you definitely need to learn Solidity for either own. But what about Solana? It doesn't have its own language. You can develop programs there using Rust or Python. Some experts write Solana programs in Solidity, but they need to use some compilers. I personally find it pretty user-unfriendly and not mainstream, so I didn't bother looking into it. It's just one of those tools you have to know about. If you're looking to build large applications on either you gotta get familiar with hard-hitting ethers. JS. There's no way around it. And don't forget about OpenZeppelin for secure smart contract libraries. If you're working with Solana, you really need to understand Anchor. It's kind of like hard-hit for either and Solana Web3 JS is similar to Ether.js for either We have a lot of info about this on our channel. If you're interested, take a look. Everyone has their own way of tackling this issue. Let me share how I started learning from scratch. When I say from zero, I mean I had absolutely no idea about coding at all. I didn't come from a computer background at first. I'm mainly into finance, and I wanted to work on some automation scripts, so I taught myself JavaScript, and I started testing it little by little using our framework. Each change in the code had its own unique impact. Then, with the DeFi summer in mind, I thought about a GameFi project and started figuring out how to use the code to write smart contracts and connect them with the front-end UI. It made it onto the DApp radar rankings and then came over step by step. For a structured learning path and developing Web3 projects on Solana and other EVM chains, make sure to follow our channel for more tech insights. If you'd like to join our bootcamp, head over to my Patreon. With a free subscription, you'll receive a Web3 project development learning blueprint, outlining the essential skills to quickly build your own dApp. See you there.